Mario Brothers, the Italian Stallions,
Yeah.
or whatever we're calling them this time. Nothing major this week. Just small, bitty topics. Nice and short one, then I suppose. But I suppose the major one is, I'd say Microsoft. The fact that they had to give a press statement on Master Chief. It's like, is that their only big IP? That's a bit worrying. That's sort of the idea it gives off, despite the fact that they bought massive IPs lately. I don't get that.
Well, I mean, the state of Halo has been quite disappointing lately, and I mean, Halo Infinite is not that bad. I mean, you reviewed it.
I
Right?
enjoyed it.
And,
That's one of the first probably the best Halo game to me, because I've always thought Halo was just average, well, above average, but nothing great. I make the same argument I've always made. Halo has always been above average. It's had good gameplay, but the story's always been utter dog shit because you've had to read 50 novels, watch the anime, watch the TV series, curl up with the Master Chief blanket, start touching your Cortana rag. It's like, no.
Watch the Triple X spin-off.
There's so much stuff. Yeah.
That's what I mean. You need to have done all that just to get the story. That is not a good story. Or
you're going to
game.
You're going to get ripped apart with your last statement when you said it's not a good one, because I know fans of Halo are very, very, very passionate. You're going to get ripped apart.
And that's fine. They can try and rip me apart. That doesn't mean that I'm wrong, because I'm not wrong. I'm never wrong.
Square Enix still has been bought by Sony, by the way.
I didn't say it was
so
happening
still not
yesterday.
Right on that.
I didn't say it was happening yesterday. I just said it's going to happen. And it will.
You're still not right on that. Judgment still out.
To be fair, I did first say that Square Enix would be acquired. And then I expanded it. After they were acquired, I expanded it to say the rest of them will get done by Sony.
Half of them has been acquired.
Yeah, so I was partly right. And then I just expanded it.
Yeah, it's the big stuff that has yet to be acquired. I mean, the stuff they are known for.
Small?
The stuff they are known for. I mean, when I was young, we didn't think Squaresoft and Tomb Raider, because Tomb Raider did not exist.
Well, no, it did. Yet. It was under IDOS, but yeah.
Yeah, even before that, because I'm old. I'm thinking early 90s.
No. Wow, you're old.
I'm old.
But seriously, though, back to Halo, the rumor was that basically the campaign DLCs had been scrapped, and actually even that 343 Industries basically would not be the main developer of future games. But that much has been basically refuted, both by reputable sources like Jason Schreier, and also by 343 Industries as well. They made a statement yesterday, and they said they're focused on Halo, and they will keep working on Halo in the future as well. So I don't know if that's a good thing, honestly, because I mean the studio has been founded many years ago now. They've made, I think, at least 3 mainline Halo games, and none of them managed to recapture the magic of at least the first 2 games made by Bungie. So I don't know if that's a good idea to keep having them as steward of this franchise, which, like you said, is basically the banner franchise for Microsoft. Even though now they have bought Bethesda, so they also have, I'd say, Elder Scrolls technically, Fallout. So, but as far as Microsoft itself is concerned, Halo is still basically synonymous with Xbox, right? So I don't know. We'll see, but I'm not very hopeful. Well, of course, I'd love to be wrong. If they can make a great Halo game, I'll be all in. But yeah,
No.
we'll see.
Yeah, well, I just don't. Yeah, I'm not attached to Halo. I just find it strange that Microsoft, of all the things they've got, they put out like probably the weakest press statement I've ever seen in my life. It's even worse than those like non-apologies like from Ubisoft where they just essentially go, well, we know there's been rape and abuse in our company, but we're very, very, very sorry. Very sorry.
Yeah, the press release, it was very short. It was basically a tweet, just a few characters to say that this rumor wasn't true.
Master Chief is still around.
Well, that was obvious that we would be going to stay.
It's all right. Master Chief will be in Mario Kart next season or something.
The next Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
But there's another rumor going this week that's linked to Microsoft, Francesco, right?
Yeah,
it's about Dragons.
Yeah, it's about a game that it's pretty much become infamous since its cancellation. That's Scalebound from
They're
Platinum
taking
Games.
over Infamous?
Sorry?
You said it's become infamous. They're taking over Infamous?
No. I don't think that's... Well, we haven't had a new entry in that series in a long time. So
no. To be fair, I'm surprised about that. Yeah, so Scalebound.
Yeah, Scalebound. Apparently, the game is in the works again. Well, maybe not really in the works. He said there's early talks about another collaboration between Platinum Games and Microsoft.
It won't be Scalebound.
Yeah, that's what is not clear. If it is indeed Scalebound, if they're like picking back up from where they left off, which I think it's unreasonable because
you can't pick off where you left off because essentially,
you
can in the sense that you've got the design documents, but every single
mechanically.
bit of work.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if they're talking about mechanically. Well, they could only be talking about mechanics and that kind of stuff, but even then, I'm not sure because some of the mechanics they thought for Scalebound went into Astral Chain and Bayonetta 3. So it would just be a repetition of things, and well, I'm not sure this is a good idea if we see the current state of Platinum Games. To be honest, like I said another time, Bayonetta 3, at least to me, is very disappointing. The last decent game they put out was Astral Chain, and even then there are issues. It's not really like the old Platinum games, like when they started with the first Bayonetta and Metal Gear Rising. So I'm not sure this is a good idea. It's not a good idea to pick up something that went bad. Well, they never said why exactly, but it's clear that there were development issues all over, and then Microsoft just pulled the plug because it was getting getting unsalvageable.
I think, at first Platinum Games tried to blame Microsoft, but then ultimately they kind of admitted it was kind of their own fault mostly.
Yeah, but they never said outright, but yeah, that's that. And I think they just picked all those mechanics they came up with Scalebound and then used them for other games. For example, I don't think it can be bought anymore. There's Transformers Devastation. That's a smallish game from a few years ago that it has a loot system, a big loot system, and it's actually pretty good. Both the game and this loot system, and I think that was a leftover from Scalebound. So if they're working together on something, I think it's something entirely new.
I mean, the basic idea of Scalebound was that you had a dragon body that you could do like synchronized abilities or something. that was kind of cool. I don't know if they implement. I mean, I didn't play Bayonetta 3, but I
It's
don't.
something like that. Probably
Yeah.
not on the same level, but it's you control the monsters. They don't do anything by themselves. I think I don't know. I don't remember. I think there's an accessory that makes them go off and do their thing, but it's limited in a lot of ways.
And also, of course, Scalebound was meant to be co-op, but we've seen a co-op game by Platinum
No,
Games,
thank you.
and it's not good.
Yeah, no, thank you. You know, this is the risk. If they're doing something new, I hope they're not doing another live service game, because Platinum Games wants to go all in again. I think they said that in an interview a few months back. And please don't, don't, because if Babylon's Fall is what you meant as a live service game, just stop. Don't do that.
Yeah.
They'll still do that, but please don't.
I don't know.
Could be worse.
You know, it's just that it's not just their reputation. It's just that the games that we're putting out are not what they used to be. I think they're just trying to. They're trying too many
The word
things.
you're looking
and
for is rubbish.
Rubbish.
Or either rubbish or average.
Yeah, average is more apt, I think. Because Bayonetta 3 is not rubbish. It's just not what I expected. But they can do good things. But well, Nier Automata doesn't count because it's mostly Yoko Taro behind that, and even though the gameplay is good, it's nothing really new for them. The problem is when they try to do new things and they just don't work. Or at least they don't work as well as they do in the best games they take stuff from. Bayonetta 3, for example, has something like more exploration, but I think it's boring and it just ruins the rhythm of the game, the pacing of the game. Bayonetta is about action, but instead you get 20 minutes of exploration, and I don't know. People like that, but not so much. Yeah.
He's an all-action kind of guy. But
well. So it's all going tits up.
Yeah, we'll see if this is true, because this has been rumored for some time, and I think even the trademark was registered, updated again some time ago. So who knows what's going on?
Maybe we'll get an announcement at E3 if it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, like we said, a bunch of small stuff today, so I guess we can move on to there's for example the news that the Callisto Protocol cost $160 million to make, which is mind-boggling. Yeah, it was reported by a Korean website, and apparently investors are not happy because
no shit.
They were
shock.
They were also, projecting something like 5 million of sales, but the new estimates from analyst firms say that they will be lucky to get to 2 million units by the end of this year. So it's going to be, from the looks of it, a major, disappointment.
Flop. Yeah, a flop. Money. I just don't see how it. I haven't played it, so I can't say it. I can't really say anything about the quality of the game. And well, I wasn't going to play it after the head of the studio was just like, "Hey, look, I've made us crunch like fuck." And then 2 minutes later, I didn't win it. They wanted to crunch honest. Silly prick.
Yeah.
But
well, at least
I feel bad for the people who've worked on it. I like the karmic justice against the head of the studio, but $160 million.
Yeah, I mean the visual.
Surely
the
that
visuals,
includes marketing.
well, hopefully, but
Mm.
yeah, the visuals are pretty advanced, so they likely used lots of I don't know, CGI effects, something like that, and motion capture probably cost them a lot. They also used some some actors' talent. There is Josh Duhamel and also the actress from The Boys. I don't recall her name, but well, I guess they must have spent a lot of money on this stuff. But the actual game itself is pretty short. I think it's 5 to 6 hours or something. So and doesn't even have that much of a replayability. Although they just added the New Game Plus mode, so there is that. But overall, it
That's
remains.
absurd. It's just absurd. They must have wasted so much. It must include marketing. It's impossible that it doesn't include marketing, because marketing does increase the budget of a game quite a lot. But even then, you're still talking a good probably 100 million on developing the game, and that's absurd. That's just absolutely absurd. Especially when you consider the cost. Because if that's what Krafton spent, the cost to recoup that when you consider the percentage taken by stores is like Sony will take 30%, Microsoft 30, well, not Microsoft, but well, is it on the Windows Game Store?
I don't think so.
And then even
not
on Steam, like if it sells over $50 million worth, it's still Steam. Valve still take what 18%?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe on the upside they spend so much because they pay their employees a lot. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah,
someone.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah, definitely. Well, working at a $70 cost and 2 million copies sold, that would be 140 million gross, which means when you take off a percentage of that, so let's say 20%, they're still at a big loss. Silly bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they will be forced to put it on Game Pass and other services to recoup costs. Try to if they don't get any full game sales, they will have to do discounts and go to subscription services.
There's going to be very, very, very few full game sales now. It's the way of the industry. People, if you're going to buy a game, you tend to buy it full price within the first few months.
Yeah, well, and the first impression lasts a lifetime. So I think most people that have just read about the issues, the dull gameplay, just not.
The only way that the game will last longer is if they turned it into like a Paradox interactive model where they constantly release new content. But, and I've not played it, so I could be wrong, but it doesn't strike me as a game that's suited for that. It's not Hearts of Iron or Victoria or Crusader Kings.
No.
Well, on the upside, there are no microtransactions, so there is that.
They could still add them in.
They probably will add them in if they cost this much money
to make up for the development costs. NFTs and microtransactions.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless maybe only Epic, only Team Sweeney can save them. Maybe if it goes like, okay, we'll give away your game for free and we'll pay you like $30 per copy claimed. Maybe
I doubt
only
it.
then.
I doubt that will be happening anytime soon.
I don't know.
They may get a couple of million. I can't imagine. I think the biggest Epic spent on even on an exclusive like $15 million. They ain't going to be giving. Striking Distance and Krafton that much money.
Well, it's too bad because it could have been a nice game, but it was also rushed. and I guess it's the way of things. Some things just don't pan out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
well,
so
well.
moving on to another game, horror game, which is more hopeful. Silent Hill 2 remake. Apparently, they're going to fully revamp the AI to make combat more interesting. So, what do you think about that?
That makes sense. In the way they were saying they wanted to modernize the experience, it makes sense. Now we have to
Yeah.
see how they handle that.
The
That's
thing is, as long as they've got combat, which, well, Bloober haven't ever done properly before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
This
sure,
is
they've
the
had
thing.
like threats and whatnot in Blair Witch and such as that, but it's, I don't know, it's a difficult one. Again, same as I've said before, it's probably one of my most anticipated games of the year because it's Silent Hill 2, and they are going to faithfully stick to the original story. So, you know, they're building on one of the best games ever made. They just need to not fuck the gameplay up. Fair enough,
Yeah.
improve the AI, but same as I've said before, they need to get the atmosphere right. If they, like, with improving the AI, the monsters are more dangerous, or, you know, and I imagine, same as like with the Resident Evil 2 remake, they've got to improve the way the game feels, because, well, it's within the modern day now. Silent Hill 2 is a
It's old.
relic. It is a
Yeah, it's
relic,
very dated. Yeah.
but it's one of those really good relics that you put in the museum.
Yeah. Actually,
I just don't know. I understand it,
yeah.
but
It's actually the interview they made. It wasn't with Bloober team. It was with the Konami team that was that is working with the Bloober team, and some of them even worked on the original.
yeah,
So, for example, there is Masahiro Ito, who was one of the concept artists on the original game as well.
yeah.
So he basically said, we're improving combat design, and it's something that we received a lot of feedback for the original. And I
Well,
mean, I guess
it was
it's
clunky,
true.
but yeah.
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 So basically, he said, because doing so would be difficult without changing the way the monsters move and act. So
Yeah,
we're trying to respect the original design while adding combat that's fun and new to the remake, and we improve as we improve a number of enemies.
like I
So
said, it's the
basically,
same as
yeah,
Resident Evil
yeah.
2. They had to change the gameplay combat style. They had to change the way the enemies worked as well.
But the difference is that Capcom improved already on that with the sequels.
Yeah. Capcom have had
It was
that
proved, and
experience. Yeah, they've had that
Bloober
experience.
wouldn't know.
Whereas, well, Konami have released well, they released Metal Gear Survive.
What a great game.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Capcom, they've always been known to make good combat, in their games, by and large.
Yeah.
Whereas Konami, I don't know, not so much, especially lately.
Metal Gear Survive and Pro Football EU, or whatever they called what used to be PES.
Yeah.
I can't even remember its name. It's that shit.
eFootball, I think.
That's the one.
eFootball.
It's that shit. I can't even remember its name.
Oh. So, well, anyway, apparently these Konami developers are impressed with Bloober team. They said the teams, the Polish teams' love for the original is so strong, so they're not going to simply add new enemies.
Yeah.
They are looking at fine details that can help make combat fun, changing AI or small design elements. So, yeah. Of course, that's kind of marketing speak for now, but we can hope it will be as interesting as they say. Going from Konami remake to Konami remake, Francesco, there's another game that might be announced soon, right?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid is coming back. At least they say it is.
We know it. We
And
knew it. We know for a fact they're going to do it simply because it's that big of a game.
there are so many wrong things with that. I don't even know where to start.
Again, the thing
You
is, if they
know,
bring back the original Metal Gear Solid, they've got to massively overhaul the way it plays and the
they would have
combat.
to, yeah. This is the thing I was just going to say. The first Metal Gear Solid has already been remade. I don't know if you remember. There's a GameCube remake called
I
the Twin
do.
Snakes,
Subsistence.
and
Oh yeah, no, yeah. So, Twin Snakes.
yeah, it's a Twin Snakes, and
Which one was
they pretty
Subsistence?
much they pretty much took the gameplay from Metal Gear Solid 2 and put it to Metal Gear Solid into
Yeah.
the first one, and the results were, ugh. I don't know. It felt like tacked on, and then they re-recorded all the voiceovers, and the results weren't that great. And they remade too many. They remade a lot of stuff like cutscenes, and they became more anime than they were supposed to be. Like I don't know if I'm misremembering, but I think Solid Snake rides a missile in that remake.
Really?
So I don't know. Kojima
Really?
was a yeah. I don't know if I misremember, but I remember something like that because
Are you
I
sure you
only
didn't
played
watch
that.
like Doctor Strangelove and whatever?
No, it's actually it sounds more like Devil May Cry, but I remember over the top stuff like that. And the thing is, Kojima was partially involved in that.
Oh, well, to be fair, if Kojima were involved, I'm surprised Snake didn't have sex with the missile.
And
Dress
I
it in a
don't know
bikini.
how. I don't know if a team without him, how they're going to handle it. We don't even know who's developing this remake. There's also rumor that they're making a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
Yeah.
That's by Virtuos. That's I don't remember where they're
That
from,
doesn't
but
make sense.
they
Why would you make
I
1 and
don't.
3? Surely you'd go 1, 2, 3.
I think 2 is kind of the black sheep. It has I remember when it released, it had a bad reputation for that character switch that people were not expecting.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
I did too. I did too, and that's another game that needs a heavy reworking for the gameplay because there's too little of it. I remember there were just cutscene after cutscene. Metal Gear Solid 3, I think it has aged a little bit better.
Yeah. It's a weird one. Same as like the Final Fantasy VII remake and how that isn't. It was a good fake out. I enjoyed the fake out that was Raiden as well.
Yeah.
I understand why people weren't happy, but I don't dislike Raiden.
No, I mean, when it released, I disliked that too. But then again, when I played it years later, I said, yeah, it was actually a great way to not repeat everything
Yeah.
from the first one. It was a way to move the story forward, but not redoing the same kind of thing. So I think that was very great idea.
I think but I remember the hype surrounding Metal Gear Solid 2 was insane for the time.
Yeah.
And they released the demo, and the demo was amazing, if you recall it.
Yeah, the tanker section.
Well, that was the essentially the prologue sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but of course you had Solid Snake in there, and then you get the full game, and whoa,
I didn't dislike it. I didn't dislike. I quite like Raiden. Anyway, so if they're remaking the first Metal Gear Solid and they're looking for voice actors, you could make the Colonel a Yorkshireman. I'm more than happy to do that. Snake, get up, you bastard!
That's one more thing that I think would be controversial if they're doing everything again.
David Hayter.
How they're going to handle the voice acting? There's that controversy with David Hayter when he was replaced
by Keith Sutherland. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, nostalgia for this one is strong.
They'd have to get
any change. This is a very difficult one.
I think they would have to make some changes. I don't even know if all the voice actors are still alive. That's the thing.
Good question. I think the main characters are because
But I don't know if the Colonel. I can't even remember who played the Colonel.
I don't know. I
And-
can tell
and-
for certain that the who played Liquid Snake, Cam Clark, is still
Yeah.
he's still
But-
alive and well and still voicing games.
Say whoever
smaller
played
games.
the Colonel, like it could have been an old man, could have been a young man, could have been my cat for all
Yeah.
I know. But I just. Yeah, and that's probably the most iconic line from Metal Gear Solid 1. Snake! Snake! Snake!
Yeah.
So that's why if he's not around, they need to change it completely. Don't even try and mimic it. Go the Yorkshire route. Get Sean Bean in to go, Snake, you bastard! Get up!
So yeah, I think I don't envy anyone who's working on this. If it's really if it's really in the works, because it's going to be scrutinized like anything else we've seen so far. Because the game is so iconic. Even worse if it's a reboot.
Mm.
Oh no,
Because
you don't want to be saying
we
that.
think it's a remake, but it could be anything really. The voice actor for Raiden teased announcements, and Raiden is not in the first one,
Yeah.
so it really could be anything.
You're gonna play as Raiden in the first one.
Yeah, they're going. They
And
could
then-
be doing anything.
And then you will play as Solid Snake for the whole MGS2. Okay? You're gonna switch things up.
Well, probably not going to end up working out well then.
Yeah.
Well.
I'm just
Anyway.
looking at IMDb now. Apparently Jennifer Hale. No, surely Jennifer Hale wasn't in the first. Maybe she was.
Yeah.
She
She played Naomi Hunter.
Yeah.
And she reprised the role in the fourth one. In Metal Gear Solid 4, she came back to replay the character. Yeah.
So the person who played the Colonel, Roy Campbell, was Paul Eiding, and he's still around. He's he recently voice acted in Shin Megami Tensei 5.
I don't remember him. Probably different voice. Yeah.
He played Lucifer.
I don't remember.
No.
Well, I just played that game once, so that's been more than a year, so probably didn't notice it. I think the actor who played Grey Fox in the original died because they changed the actor in the Twin Snakes.
Greg Eagles. I'm just having a look. Yeah, Greg Eagles. He also played Donald Anderson.
Yeah, okay. Well, it was a small part, yeah, but
I don't know.
I remember.
I'm just IMDbing. He was in Crash Bandicoot on the Run as Aku Aku. So that was only a year and a half ago.
Oh, that's promising, I guess. But yeah.
So
it's,
anyway, we'll see.
Lots of remakes.
Yeah.
But the guy who played Revolver Ocelot hasn't voice acted since 2008.
They just switched they turned the Revolver Ocelot into Liquid Snake in the.
No.
Actually, no. I don't remember if the original voice actor came back from Metal Gear Solid 4. I think he did.
Yeah, it says he is looking at it. He's on his in Metal Gear Solid 4. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he did come back because it was the point where the character was voiced by both the actor for Liquid Snake and the original actor because Kojima.
Yeah.
Because Kojima's shenanigans.
So it looks like we're not going to have a Yorkshire voice in Metal Gear Solid remake, which is very disappointing.
We will have to see. Like I said, this is a tough one. Really, and probably even more difficult than Silent Hill 2, because Silent Hill 2. I don't say it's a smaller game, but I think it's easier just to remake if you stick to the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid, you can't stick to the original. It was dated when it released. It felt dated already. The gameplay, I mean.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we move on to what we've played? To keep it short.
Yeah. don't think I've actually played anything. Well, I don't. What are video games?
Don't have video games.
What are video games? What are video games? No. I genuinely don't know if I've played anything lately. That's a bad sign.
Come on, you must have played some Football Manager at least.
Oh no, I played a small indie game called Football School, which, I played that just as a little thing because I bought it in the Christmas sales. I also played a bit more Super Auto Pets. And other than that, no, I haven't really played anything. There are a few games coming up which, I mean,
Yeah.
I could play.
Yeah, we know one.
Being sent
Yeah, we know one.
Sorry?
We know one. We know one of them that you want to play. That's coming out.
No, I don't mean what's not yet. I mean like random things
Indie.
that. Yeah.
Smaller games.
I'm going to say, if I look through my emails, I know for a fact there are some codes there. It's just that I've been busy. So I probably will just pick up a small indie game and just go blast through it while I'm waiting for Hermione Granger as adventures.
You're waiting for Emma Watson, but she won't be there.
Oh, that's going to be one of the first mods they will make.
Yes.
I have no doubt it's going to be the very first one.
Yes.
And also a skimpy mod, not just.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
So apparently, according to IMDb, Luke Roberts is going to be playing James Sunderland in the Silent Hill 2 remake. Yeah. I mean, I've seen him in a few things.
Oh,
well.
Okay, Francesco, what did you play? Wolong, right?
Yeah, I played Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja have been so nice to make me play the game again. Just the first two chapters for now, and this is after they released their first demo, and then they said they shared a fan feedback survey that had the changes they would be doing to the experience, and they're already in. And I can say it's improved a lot. Well, not on the technical side of things, because the game didn't run that well. Although I have to, just for the clarification, Kai told me that there was something that I could do to improve the frame rate. I think it would be fixed by the time it releases. That it was capping the frame rate of my monitor to 60 Hz, and it smoothed things out a lot. It was the 60 FPS lock in the game that was not working well with the 120 Hz refresh rate. So that at least it's probably not going to be an issue. It's because it has improved a lot. But yeah, I was talking about the gameplay. It's improved a lot. In the first demo, they had the deflection window was very, 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 very small, and it was difficult to pull it off consistently. I think this is going to be as close to the final build as possible. It's way longer and it's way easier to do these deflections, and I think the game gets a lot better with these tweaks, because you're playing the game the way you're meant to, but you're not just. It doesn't feel like you're throwing a coin and hoping it flips. It lands the right side, because that's how it felt in the first one. And I have to say one thing, I don't know if it's going to be like this until the end. I think the game feels a little too easy right now. They said, Team Ninja said they weren't influenced by the fact that the game is going to come out on Game Pass. But I'm not sure if this is entirely true, because It's definitely no Sekiro, because Sekiro was very difficult right from the start. Neo takes some time, but then at the start it's a little more difficult. Then it gets easier as you go along. But with Wolong, it's actually a little easy. I don't know if it's me that's got better at this type of game over the years or not, but it does feel easier. And then there's one more thing. I hope it's not going to be like this in the final build, but there's always an AI companion following you in the story missions. At least one. There's in the second one, I think there are two of them, and you can't remove them.
Yeah, that was kind of weird because in the first demo you could summon one, but
Yeah.
it was optional.
In this one, you have your two story companions, and then you can summon more on top of them.
Well, you have like a full squad.
You can have an army with you, and at least I'd like the option to have the story companions out. I mean, Stranger of Paradise has the same thing, that you're always followed by three companions, but you can remove them in that game. So hopefully this is just something that they still have to implement before release, because I think it's an easy one to do.
I think it also has co-op, right? So maybe in co-op.
Yeah, it has co-op, and no, I don't think I can talk about it. No, I don't. I can't talk about that. Okay, there's something else in the multiplayer that they haven't talked about. At least I don't remember they talked about.
But
so I'd rather not say at this point.
I'm just curious if people joining in co-op will also have their own companions. Hopefully not, because otherwise it gets crazy.
I hope not, because at that point I can see the game run like shit with so many characters on screen too.
Yeah, that too. And also the environments aren't that large to begin with, so
no, it's an interesting one. I feel it's going to be very divisive. How do you say that? It's going to put some people off. Because it's different from what they've done so far. It's no Neo. It doesn't have the same complexity in the combat system. It's more straightforward action with a little bit of role-playing game mechanics on top. So people that are looking for another Neo, I think they're going to be disappointed. It's still fun, but it's way more straightforward. Again, they said Game Pass had nothing to do with this. I'm not sure.
But Game Pass or no, I think all developers, especially on behalf of the publishers, they always try to reach a wider audience.
Yeah.
So it's not very much of a surprise.
No. The demo was more in line with the challenge level. It was more in line with their previous games. This one seems a little easier. We don't know, because I've seen footage from another mission that's, I think they said middle game or something. That looked a little bit more challenging, and no AI companions that I could see. So
okay,
probably things will be a little different in the final release.
Okay. Well, as far as me, I've played Forspoken and I finished it. So, well, it's pretty much what we thought it would be. That is, it's pretty fun when it comes to the gameplay, when it comes to the combat, and especially the parkour. I'd say it's one of the best thing in Forspoken. It's it makes you feel like you're, especially when you upgrade it and you get all of the moves. It makes you feel like you're really soaring through through the environments, which are pretty large, but they're also, as we surmised from the videos, they're also kind of empty in that there is basically no meaningful narrative quest that's happening in the open world, because of course they have this this excuse that everyone basically in the open world, because of the break, is a zombie essentially. So basically, everything that you do in the open world is just going around and mainly you gather either ingredients like rocks or flowers for crafting, or you gather mana, which is basically you find it all across the land, and it's kind of like gathering orbs in Crackdown a bit, I guess.
God, Crackdown.
Yeah.
Oh, the good one or the shit one?
Well, just in general, the mechanics that you
Yeah.
you go around parkouring and finding this mana pools or mana orbs if you want, and this is actually pretty important because you need mana to unlock the spells. So going around and gathering mana, and it's pretty much one of the best ways to improve your arsenal, especially early on. And like I said, the combat is also quite fun once you change some settings as well. For example, the auto switch for the support spell, because basically you have two skill sets. One is attack skills, and the other is support skills. So with the auto setting to switch support skills, basically once you have one that goes in cooldown, it will switch to another one. So this helps, while you're deciding your attack spell. You also have another support spell coming out after the cooldown has ended. So it helps with the flow of the combat, and generally it's pretty fun once you get the hang of it, especially if you combine the rather impressive skills and spells, especially the ultimate are really good. They feel really great when you pull them off, both visually and in terms of the feeling as well. And I guess the DualSense controller helps a lot with that, because I think it's probably one of the best implementations of haptic feedback that we've seen to date. And it's a good thing that's also supported on PC as well, if you have a DualSense controller. So, on the upside, like I said, parkour and combat, once you get the hang of it, they're very good. Although, I mean, most of the fights, even on hard, I played on hard difficulty, they're not that difficult, honestly. And also, they're, boss fights with only a handful of exceptions. They're not very complex, from a mechanics standpoint. So, talking about activities on the open world, like I said, you gather stuff, but of course you also fight enemies, various types of enemies, and but it gets repetitive quite fast, honestly, because there isn't a lot of variety in these activities, and also even the dungeons that are called locked labyrinths in this game, they're quite basic, to be honest. There are like 2 or 3 holes. There aren't even any twisting paths like I don't know, for example, in something like Skyrim, or in most RPGs, dungeons are meant to be kind of dark caves where you can get lost. Here they're just giant holes, and you basically can't miss anything, and they're all basically the same. You go through the first hole. There's a bunch of enemies. Then there's another hole where maybe you can find a chest or some mana orbs, and then the final boss. And actually, even the final bosses in the dungeons, they're not unique. Often they're the bosses you can find in the dungeons sometimes are also in the open world, because there are mutants in certain points of the open.
This
Yeah.
feels like Final Fantasy 15 all over again. It's the
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah.
It's the same stuff.
We'll
They did the same with that. They had one complex dungeon. I think it was an optional post-game dungeon in Final Fantasy 15 that was a little bit more complex, but everything else is exactly as you're talking. And you're describing Forspoken, it's exactly the same. They haven't learned much since then.
Wow.
Yeah, the downside also is that the story, I guess there is an interesting twist at some point, but then the very ending, of course I won't spoil it, but I don't think it makes much of sense. And there are a few interesting characters, although I mean all of the story interactions take place in the Incipal, which is the only haven for inhabitants of Atia from the break. So basically, when you are in Cipal, you only do just story interactions. And again, it's not exactly riveting stuff when it comes to the story, even though this time they've used writers from the West. I mean, even Amy Hennig worked on this game, even Gary Whitta, who was one of the screenwriters of Rogue One, the film. So, I was kind of expecting more, but it's not.
We'll definitely get your.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the review is not going to be 100% glowing then.
No, it's not going to be glow. I mean, I had fun, like I said.
Yeah.
It's fun just blasting away enemies and with lots of you have like fire spells, you have earth spells, water spells, and then you get lightning spells at the end. So it's fun, but like I said, it's there aren't really narrative content is really limited, mostly to the main story with very few exceptions. And then there's lots of stuff. Yeah, there's lots of stuff that just feels undercooked, I'd say. And there is.
We have to get the full thing when we. I guess when is the review going to go live?
Tomorrow. I mean,
tomorrow.
Not when it comes to.
Yeah.
Our tomorrow. Our current tomorrow.
So yesterday. It goes live yesterday. Perfect. Oh dear.
I think the problem here is going to be that they're asking that price for a game like this.
Nope,
yeah, that's what I was talking about, because it's a game that I guess. Yeah, sure. I guess it's just that if you find it at discounted price eventually, or if it comes to Game Pass or something like that, then you can definitely play it. But at full price, probably not.
Probably the same as Wo Long for me. Then I'll just end up trying them on Game Pass or discounts.
Yeah.
Oh well. You've talked a lot about Forspoken though, so clearly you've enjoyed it. So.
No. I mean, it's my kind of game. Of course, I like fantasy stuff and spells and whatnot. So.
Same.
But it does have lots of shortcomings.
Like with Mahora. Love Mahora and my strategy. But anyway, we'll wrap up because I have got a little black cat to take to the vets for a final checkup after a spaying.
If you are into cats, Forspoken, as you covered, there's lots of cats. So that is that.
We'll have an natter later. But yeah. For the podcast, I am going to have to run because I have a little kitty to take to the vet. Yeah, you keep yawning, girl. You keep yawning. Right. But yeah, we will see you all next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye.
I won't be rushing next week because I have no vet appointments.
All right.
Yay.
But we also have Manchester United this evening as well, so that's important. So, yeah. See you all in a bit.
Bye.
Bye.